Morning guys, just want to welcome you to Dystonia Life. I want to talk today about my life in general. It all started back in probably when I was about 16, 17. I discovered that I had like a wink on my eye, a bit like that, and my father had always suffered with dystonia. Back then it was more of a dystonia thing, but he was never diagnosed. I was diagnosed a few years back. I'm 48 now. I think I was diagnosed when I was about 30, perhaps a bit more, 35. My condition is more adult onset tics. It's like a form of dystonia. It's always called dystonia for a lot of years. And then basically my neurologist, who I started seeing down in Henley, near Maidenhead and sort of Oxfordy way, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And over the time, I started having Botox injections. But going back to the beginning, it was a case of you kind of put up with it. I had it, and my brother had it a little bit. It was very odd because we noticed my dad had it, and he had it quite bad. My dad worked in a factory setting, and obviously quite noisy, etc. So you wondered if it was coming from that. But over the years, as I started growing up, obviously I was very aware of it, and it became a problem for me in my life. It started off with the wink, and then gradually it came into sort of the side of my face, etc. And sometimes I get it in my wrists. So it's been very hard. Say only until I started seeing my neurologist did I have any medication for it. Mine is basically down this side of my face. You'll notice it on this video. And weirdly, when I talk about it, it seems to get a bit worse. So do excuse me. But if you're a dystonia sufferer or a movement disorder sufferer, then you'll understand that it's uncontrollable and there's not really a lot I can do about it. When mine's really bad, and you'll see that on one of my other videos, when I'm waking up to dystonia tics, that's probably been my worst ever case that I've had. That's probably the worst time. But I did have a lot going on in my life as well at that point. I went for a divorce, etc. So I was feeling pretty low anyway. Now, going back to that, the younger years, obviously at school and stuff, people took the mick. They always did, but you just put up with it, etc. I put up with it in the fact that you had to deal with it. You just had to deal with it. My teachers at the time were aware of it. So we put up with it, and through the school years, obviously you leave school, you start your job, and it was quite noticeable in my jobs, but everybody put up with it. I do excuse the dog in the background, bear with me a second. Isn't it weird how your dogs, once they know you're talking to a camera or a stranger, they start wanting some attention. Anyway, going back to my tics, I left school, started work doing an apprenticeship as an electrician. That in itself was okay. I think people just accept that I had a tic. That wasn't so bad. But over the years, throughout my life and my jobs, I've had issues because I haven't just suffered with this. I've suffered with depression and anxiety, which has caused many problems really, mainly sickness at work. I've had quite a lot of sick off, and it's hard, obviously, you want to pay the bills, and it affects all your life, your girlfriends, your wives. I was married at the time. So I've had several jobs, and it's affected probably everyone in some way. Mainly probably sickness. I found that quite hard. As I've grown up over the years, I basically don't give a monkeys anymore. If people don't like it, that's their problem, not mine. But I am starting to look after myself more now, rather than worrying about other people. I think my family would probably say that I don't look after myself enough. I think that would be a fair comment. I worry. I'm a worrier. I'm a big worrier. So the people that are around me would say that I am, constantly worrying about other people, and where I should be looking after myself, and that's not always the case. I do have issues, self-esteem issues, and I worry, and I have anxiety, and I have depression. As we speak now, I've currently been off work for nearly a month with anxiety and depression. I just felt really low, and so I decided to do this channel. Really, it kind of it's kind of like getting myself out there, and joining the Dystonia Society, and the community, trying to bring people towards it. I want to share my story because it's important, I believe. One thing that's quite interesting with me is that I mentioned that my father had the tics in his face, and he's always had it like really bad in his eyes, and that's obviously quite draining for him. Everybody accepts it, there's nothing he can do with it. Now, my brother has it to a certain extent. I have it. My brother's son has it. To very mildly at the minute. He's quite young. I have a son that I don't see anymore, but he has it apparently. So, I do wonder sometimes if it's hereditary. I'd be interested actually to know whether any of you guys out there that have dystonia or tics, whether you've had a family member with the same problem. Because mine seems to run in the male gene, doesn't go in the female gene. None of the girls have got it, sisters haven't got it, and as far as I know, my niece hasn't got it at all either. So I'd be really interested to know whether you guys have a family member. I remember once I was approached, and perhaps Oxford University wanted to do some blood tests about the family gene that we had. That never came to fruition. Nobody ever got back to us, which is a shame, really, because I do believe there is I do believe that there is possibly a link there somewhere. So I would like to know that myself. Perhaps I'll, go down that route soon as I get to know more people on here. I might, possibly be invited to studies, etc. Now, as far as dealing with dystonia, I have ways that I deal with it. I have certain triggers. The triggers for me are mainly, I think, perfume-based, soaps, perfumes, definitely female perfumes, unfortunately, which obviously affects my girlfriend, my ex-wife. I was constantly saying, don't wear that, don't wear this, etc. So yeah, perfumes are definitely a trigger for me. Weirdly, if I talk about it, somewhere up there tells my brain to start ticking. It definitely gets worse when I talk about it. So I think that's quite interesting, really. And I'd like to know, obviously, through the comments section, whether you have any triggers. We've all seen the studies where people can stop their tics or dystonia movements by playing music, taking their mind off things, doing puzzles. And I know when I do, like, if I do some DIY or go down the shed and have a little play, I tinker about and things, I know my tics stop, which is quite, observing that behaviour is quite interesting, I think. I'd really like to know if you've got any triggers. I'd like to know whether, if you do something that you're concentrating on, whether that is something that stops your tics or your movements or your dystonic seizures, if you like. I'd also quite like to be interested in sort of what tics or dystonia you have. I think sharing and being open on this channel is going to be a good thing. We can all get to know each other and share our experiences. As per medication, let's talk about medication. So I have diazepam. When my tics are really bad, the way I deal with the tics is generally I want to take a diazepam. It chills me out. It calms my body down, but as you probably know, I want to sleep. So a diazepam and an hour or two of sleep when my attacks are bad, then that's when I'll that's when I'll help myself. I was having botulism injections via my neurologist down in Henley, and I've kind of stopped that at the minute because I don't particularly think that's good for you. However, anything that helps is obviously going to benefit you as a human and give you a better life. So if you have them, then I'd be interested. From our overseas viewers, there's probably different medications about for that, and for you and what you take. I've heard of people taking 18 tablets a day, and to me it's horrendous. I can't imagine that. I don't take medication for it. I do take the diazepam, and I get really tired with medications. Currently on antidepressants as well, so they make you tired. The diazepam will chill me out, and all in all, I'm quite self-controlled. I have phases also where I don't know if you can relate to this, but different seasons in the UK, I find my tics are worse. In the summer, they're quite good. Winter is a terrible time for my tics. Now, this time, it's February now. It's quite a hard time. I don't think autumn is particularly bad, but I do find the winter time is worse. And going back to people that suffer arthritis and all that, they always say winter's worse. The colder the weather, the worse their condition is. So it is weird. It is a strange phenomenon. But over the years, you get to know your trends. You will know yourself when your tics are worse, and perhaps you do have a trigger that you try to avoid, etc. So. The other thing I just remembered, and I just did it a minute ago, if you hold your face, I can calm it down. It just it's relaxing. Medication wise, that's all I take. The diazepam. I'm pretty sure my neurologist would have me back anytime if I wanted to go back to have the injections. I'm sure he said that before. He's a great guy. And he's obviously a very, very intelligent man as well. I think he's quite high up in the old neurology sector within the UK as well, so quite well known. And I'm very grateful to him. If he happens to stumble across this video, I'd be, very happy to have him on board. And perhaps we can go have an interview with him at some point and talk about dystonia. Who knows what's going to happen, what's going to come of this channel. I personally have built this this YouTube channel because I need to express myself. It's a way of dealing with life. Other people I know can watch the videos, and I want to share my life with you. So if you have dystonia, a movement disorder, or any neurology movement disorder, let me know in the comments. I'd really like to hear from you. The main thing for you and I is to build this channel, and the only way you can do that, or I can do that, is for you to subscribe to the channel. So please subscribe. Even if you don't watch all the videos and you find me a bit boring, you'll remember I'm just new to this, so I will get there with the editing, the locations of filming, etc. And hopefully we'll have some exciting interviews, and I'll try to make this channel a bit more interesting. I know at the minute I'm explaining about my life, but I think that's important for you to understand who I am and where I'm coming from. I would really appreciate any questions, comments below. That's quite important. Gives me something to do, and to stay in touch with you guys. So if you feel like you can present any questions or comments, do post them below. Subscribe. I think there will be a link coming up on the top left in a minute. Please subscribe to the channel, and please share this channel. If you have a channel that's really successful at the minute, please share my story. As you know, I need subscribers and I need views, so please do that. I will see you in the next video. Hopefully I'll try to make it a bit more interesting, apart from talking about myself all the time. I will do some videos about what dystonia is, how it affects people in the future. I also want you to introduce you to one of my best friends. He's got me out of, excuse me for that shake, he's got me out of a bit of a hole, and let's see where we go from here. So good luck to you guys, keep well, look after yourselves, and I will see you on the next blog. Okay, take care, bye bye.